Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking time to join us for our overview of the new UNC Total Reward Summary project. My name is Michael Boykin, Benefits Business Systems Analyst, and I have a few folks in the room with me during this webinar, and I'd like to introduce them as you may hear from them during the presentation. We have Dave Turner, Senior HR Business Analyst. Chris Minter with the Communications team will be our moderator. And we have Cherie Harmon, Director of the University Benefits and Leave Administration Office, and Christine Williams, our Benefits Business Systems Manager. Before we go over the agenda, I'd like to take a few minutes to just give you some details on what you can expect over the next 30 to 45 minutes of the webinar. The webinar is divided into two parts. I'll be providing you with some background info on what we have done thus far regarding total rewards for the past 4 years since I've joined UNC, and then give you an update on where we are today. Then Dave will give you a demo of what you and employees will see as you access the total rewards summary in employee self-service. Now, if we experience any technical difficulties with the live demo, no need to fear. We've captured screenshots for every item that we need to cover. So by way of advance notice, if we run into any technical problems, then we'll switch back to the PowerPoint and keep things moving. If you should have any questions during the webinar, please use the chat feature or question box to write your question. Now, Chris will be monitoring the question box, and we'll check in with him from time to time to see if there are any questions from the audience. Again, thank you for joining us, and here's our agenda for this afternoon. As I stated, I'll give you a little bit of background info on total reward statements at UNC. We'll take a look at a view of the past compensation statements because I recognize that there may be some of you that are in your roles that haven't been here over the past year or so. And so this total compensation, formerly the total compensation statement and what we're now calling the total reward summary, may be a little bit of a new concept to you. We'll talk about the total reward summary project goals, and then I'll turn it over to Dave so that he can give you a demo of our live system. And at the end, we'll talk about some of the print capabilities that are available, and we'll entertain some of those questions that you might have. So as you see here, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Right? And so before I go into some of the history on the statements that I've been working with over the past 4 years, this picture kind of captures what I'd like to think was a part of the basic process that we went through to prepare the total reward statements. We got a lot of people, a lot of resources that it took to pull this information together. Everything was not uniquely packaged. And we almost had to start that process over, as every year, as a new year began, we had to go back through and pull out that same process to get to a final product of the total reward statements. And so with this, the new total reward summary, we hope to eliminate that process that we've gone through in the past. So with what at first I'd like to do is define our total reward statements, all right? The concept of the total rewards statement or total reward summary, this is used to show employees the full value of their benefits and compensation package. In other words, the compensation package is more than just the salary that an employee earns. It provides a view of all rewards, including non-cash compensation. It also contains an explanation and information about plans, links to third-party vendors, and analytical charts. And again, that's where we're going to by way of the total reward summary. So give you some background on who we provide the statements for in the past, we had approximately 12,500 annual statements that were produced. And that's because we took a look at all of the full-time employees or regular employees that were at 0.5 FTE, or working at least 20 hours a week in a full-time capacity. It was decided several years ago by individuals in positions much higher than ours that they would go with a projected outlook for the benefit summary.
Kind of just calling in on the audio or the phone.
Concerns with that, but overall, that's the way that's the way that it was decided to go with the previous statement.
But I think it's maybe because
one of the major issues with that was, let's say, for example, an employee who was hired
yeah, but it does, I have no idea who
that projected statement show that if they were at $100,000 and they had a benefits package that was worth $10,000, then what would show on their annual statement for their total compensation would be a projected value of $110,000. Well, that employee has only been here for a couple months, and so it was felt that that was very misleading to the employee. So what we've decided to move to with the total reward summary is actual totals. In other words, what the employee has earned during a year by way of their salary and any additional earnings. Based on when we pull that information into our payroll tables, we'll be able to show the actuals. Also, what employees have spent toward their benefits packages, we'll be looking at the actual totals contained in those payroll tables. And so what we've done in the past, hang on just one second.
They're saying that someone needs to be muted because someone is talking.
And I don't know how they're doing it.
But we don't know, we can't identify it. So maybe everyone should make sure, I know we individually have the option to mute ourselves. Please make sure that you've muted your own connection to the Zoom.
I don't see anyone on there. I don't.
All right, are you all able to hear me okay? If you have is there a thumbs up that they can give us if they're able to hear?
Yeah, please just hit the, type in the chat box if you can hear okay.
If you're having any problems at all, please type in the chat box so that we can try and address that issue.
Seems the issue has been resolved.
Okay, all right, so we will get back on track. I was last talking about projected versus actuals. Long story short, where we're going today, we will be in the actual concept. What an employee has actually earned during the time that we run the statements, what an employee has actually spent toward their various benefit packages. That's what we'll report on the total reward summary. Additionally, by way of history, the data was previously spread across a couple different systems. Now, I worked closely with our reporting group and our TIM administration group to pull in the pieces of information that we had to put in a package that we would work with our vendor to be able to get that information into a readable format for the total reward statements. That took a great deal of time. As we go forward in the total reward summary, we have quicker access to that data and won't need to massage the information in order to have it available for our total reward summary. We previously, when we were working on the hard copy statements, we would start the process in late October and work through the time frame of late February in order to get this information in a usable format for the vendor to be able to create the statements. Naturally, along the way at different data points, we would have to provide some type of quality assurance to the information and go back and forth with the vendor to make sure what they were compiling was as accurate as could be. Again, that took a great deal of time. As we move forward, we will not have so much production time that will go into these summaries that will be available for employees to access through self-service. The hard copies, when we work when we were working on that previous time frame just discussed, we would have the statements delivered to the campus mailbox of all the eligible employees that would receive one. I want to back up 1 second and just let you know that previously we produced a hard copy statements for those eligible employees that were half-time employees and were in a regular capacity. Now, at the time, if there was anyone that had terminated at the point in which we were working with the vendor, then we would extract or pull out their information, because if they were no longer employed, then they would not receive a statement, even if they were employed during the time frame for which we pull the statements. And I think Dave may go into that a little bit more, but you have to be an active employee at the time that we administer the statement process in order to have one produced for you. So this is just a quick look of what the hard copy statements look like. And so the last one that was produced was for 2017. And you see in the upper left corner, we have Tammy Tarhill in her campus mailbox. Now, we did not mail any hard copy statements to employees' home address. It was strictly to the campus mailbox, and we used our campus fulfillment to get those items delivered. We have brief descriptions here of the areas that of information that were provided, just to talk a little bit about the work-life balance, various programs, discounts and perks that employees could take advantage of. And we had a welcome message from the Vice Chancellor for HR at the time. The second page was what was most useful to employees that described the mandatory retirement program that they were a part of, any supplemental plans, health and wellness plans that they were a part of, and information on the leave programs. And as you can see in the middle of the page, you can see the value of what the UNC paid toward employee benefits along with their annual salary. And that's how we would arrive at the total benefits package for an employee. And those charts over to the right were useful for employees to get a good glimpse of what the university was paying and what they were paying. And toward the middle bottom there, you see the value of the leave that they earned during that particular year of the statement. As we move forward, we will see how the leave balances are captured and what those balances mean as far as what the university might be liable for if an employee were to use up all of their leave or sick leave, vacation leave or sick leave. So just wanted to give you just a quick overview of what the paper statements used to look like in case you were an employee that hadn't been here within more than a year or so. So some of you are probably asking, why did we make the change going from the hard copy statements moving to the self-service summaries, right? That's an excellent question, so thank you for that. Just to tell you a little bit about the project. So what this project will do, I talked about getting away from projected and going to the actuals. So now we've worked with payroll, we've worked with our reporting group so that we can access the exact tables that will show what an employee has paid toward their benefits as well as what the university has paid. We don't have to project what's going to be paid over a certain time period. So it's much more accurate. Additionally, we can safeguard employees' information. Only an employee can access their employee self-service total reward statement. Management will not have access to look up an employee's information, and the only group that has access to employee information is the university's benefit consultant group or benefits department. If an employee has questions or wants to, while they're making an appointment with their benefit consultant, if they need to bring up that total rewards information, then the benefit consultants would be able to assist them with that. But those are the only groups that will have access to this information. Additionally, we are able to utilize functionality within the system, within our PeopleSoft system. And this has been a project that's been talked about for a number of years, but when we did our recent upgrades to the PeopleSoft system, we thought the time was right to take this project on. And let me tell you, Dave has been an outstanding configuration component in making this thing happen. We've got members from our reporting group, Leslie Bowman, that they've just been phenomenal. And you all need to know that a large part of this technical project was carried out by several individuals. So we certainly want to thank them for that. But in a nutshell, those are the goals that we had, mainly utilizing system functionality, reducing our expenses related to the project, and we were able to accomplish those things. We put the ability now to administer statements is right here within our UNC departments. We don't have to go outside. If things change as far as any earn codes, or we figure out a better way to do something, we have the ability to go in and re-administer these statements as needed. And that's huge. That's huge. So we're able to leverage all those components of making this possible with our new summaries. So at this point, we're going to switch seats, and Dave is going to give you a demo of the system. Stand by.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, everybody. As we get ready for the demo here, I'll just move one more slide forward and let everybody know we will be using a link within the My Benefits self-service tile to get into Total Reward Summary. That is not available for us to use in our environment today, so I'll be just using a shortcut that we have, but it will be started from the My Benefits tile for everyone out there on campus. And I am now going to go, we're going to try to run a demo here. Okay. And what you're seeing in front of you right now is your Total Rewards page. And I'm just going to go ahead and refresh it so it's as if we're starting from scratch. And this is a page, as you can see in the upper left, for Ronnie Rams's. And also at the top, you see a rewards period. Now, our intent is to have a growing history of Total Rewards summaries out here, beginning with 2018 and the first half of 2019. And you can see, thank you, get my mouse correct here. You can see that we show a full year for 2018, January through December, and then the first half of 2019, January through June. And that is how we will be going live the first week of August. And that's just because we didn't want to just have a year's worth of information that's in 6 months old. And so we wanted to provide a little bit of 2019 data. When we roll over into 2020, we will eliminate this 6 months of 2019, and from there forward, we will just provide you with full years. So you'll have full calendar year 2018, full calendar year 2019, and so on. So for today, as we're talking, we're just going to focus on 2018, since that's a full year that we can look at. And you notice on this page, first of all, on the right, we have sort of a summary of what this page is looking at. You see it's a summary of benefits. This is an overall look of everything. And so we have a note from our fearless leader for the summary of benefits. And then next to that, we have a pie chart that you can highlight any of the pieces of, and it will give you the amount of your rewards that are in that. And that's just a total number. If you want to see a little more detail, we can scroll down and you see all of the pieces of the pie are represented here in this general overview. And then if you want, each one of these, I should say, gives you information about what the university paid or what the employee has paid, or in the case of leave, what the university will provide if you were to need to use that leave. And it shows the entire accrual amount that you have, not just 1 year's worth as it did in the past. Let me see if there's anything else. I guess to dig deeper into any one of these categories, you'll need to go to the menu on the left. And the menu on the left does identify each one of the categories here that we can go into. And let's just start by going into salary and taking a look at that. Now, I will state, actually, as we move into the future environments, when you see this go live, this will actually be called compensation. The reason being that salary is seen a lot of times as base, and this is much more than base. This is all of your earnings and compensation that's coming in. And so you'll see that name a little different. If you want to see how the dollar amounts were determined, first of all, you'll see different kinds of salary and different kinds of compensation. You see it salary and retro pay here. You may also see bonus pay, longevity, any number of different pay types. Dual pay would also come in. And I accidentally clicked on that one, but you can see when I click on one of those rows, it will drill down and give me more information about that line item. This earnings amount was in the paycheck for November 30, and it will actually give you the paychecks where the earnings occurred. Let's look at salary real quick. Drill down by clicking. And you can see what type of salary was earned. Well, I guess we'll start on the left with the paycheck date. So you see when it was earned. And then as you move to the right, you can see the paycheck number and also the earnings description. So we have some regular pay. Back in September, there was some overload pay as well as some clinical pay with the regular. And you can go back paycheck by paycheck and see how everything was earned. You'll see that kind of detail is true throughout all of the different categories that we go through. As we just move our way down the left, taxes, this is just information on Social Security and Medicare, again, university and employee contributions. You could drill down deeper into these and it just tells you how much and when all the amounts were paid. And I will say if there is a difference in payments, you'll see those change here. Sometimes it'll be consistent, but when there's an increase in pay, you'll see the increase in pay in these detail lines. Mandatory retirement, we have three different, I guess, tabs you would say that you could see for mandatory retirement. We have teasers, ORP, and then the LEORs. You may see more than one of these. A lot of people will just have one if they only contributed to one of the retirement plans during the year. But for example, our law enforcement officers actually contribute to both LEORs and teasers. They would have two of those tabs here, two mandatory retirement tabs that they can look at. And again, we can always drill down to see any information we want about that. Any place you see one of these little arrows on the right side, that is where you can drill down. Let's see, we'll look at supplemental retirement. And again, this shows the example that we're using here. Ronnie is a faculty physician, so he has some of that faculty physician benefits plans. For the people who are not FacViz and would not have any of these plans, you would not even see the supplemental retirement tab. It will only appear when you have benefits plans underneath. Going into health and wellness, and Ashley, do we have a question?
We have Chris.
Sorry. So Robert's asking, where is the employee contribution on the ORP tab?
Okay, we have the ORP tab. We have the universities paying $18,810, and the employee is paying $16,500. And if we drill in, you can see the individual paychecks where those are being paid.
All right. So yeah.
That was the only question?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic, and thank you for that question. Keep them coming. We'll address them as they come in.
I'll pay attention better. I was actually getting
No, that's
enthralled
okay.
in what my thing is going to look like.
All right, so we were going to health and wellness, and in some cases, health and wellness really takes care of a lot of the insurance plans that we have out there. And a lot of times people will want to understand what their coverage level is. So as we drill into health insurance, it's not apparent from any of the descriptions what their coverage level would be. So we've shown a coverage level here of family, and anytime they're paying that on the employee side, you will see the coverage level show up there. If they change from family to some other coverage level during the year, you will see it change here on the appropriate paycheck and moving forward. Other insurance plans like dental, the information for the coverage level is really contained within the description. So where the description gives you enough information, we've allowed that to stand, and there's a few cases where it does not provide enough information and we have added in a coverage level. Income protection. This is an area that has plans that protect you against the unthinkable. And you can see that immediately with accidental death and dismemberment at the top here. What I will do is go in and show that the coverage level is shown here is 4 times salary for this person. Again, just showing how your coverage level can be seen once you dip down a little lower in to the plan. And where it's not shown in the description, like in life insurance, we have added a coverage level that shows $10,000, $1 million, whatever that level will be for dependents or your salary premium. So again, trying to provide the information on the line where it counts. Leave is a little different from all the other tabs because here it is what the university is providing, not as much what the university or the employee pays. So what you see under university provided for sick, vacation, and bonus are the dollars associated if the person needed to use all of their accrued leave in that category this year. And so whereas previously we would just show the projected amounts for 1 year because we didn't have all that accumulated information, we now do, and we're able to apply it here. So if you want to see how that dollar amount is reached, if we look at sick, you can see the value comes from 840 leave hours and an hourly rate of $136.75. And we have some other benefits that are contained in the end here. These are some miscellaneous benefits that we pay and just did not fit anywhere else great, and therefore they go under other benefits. We will actually have one final category called discounts and perks, which is not showing up in this environment, but it will provide you with a link. The university doesn't pay or the employee doesn't contribute to these. There's really nothing provided, but there are a lot of retail stores and groups that we have deals with that we will provide a link to so that they can get to. I mean, I didn't really speak to that too much, but you see over in the right here, we're now able to put hot links into this text so that we are able to just click on it and get more information as we go. And so we will provide hot links on the right that will allow them, for example, if they need more information about any of their health insurance, we could put a link in there that allows them to get to it. And I think right now, ORP is another place. Yes, we have a link here to get to the retirement information. You click on it and get there. All right. And I believe we have a question, Chris?
We did.
All right.
I didn't want to interrupt your
Yeah, we're good.
flow
Good
there.
place.
If an employee has more than 240 hours of vacation, will it cap at 240?
It will report however it is reporting in payroll right now. So I believe during the year, it will grow until you get to December. And there is a day in December where we convert over any vacation that's over the allowed amount, and all of that would go to. So in that last paycheck, you would see the shift over from your vacation into your sick. So just as we do it today, it would transfer over on that date, and you would see the adjustment effective that day.
And before we get to the next question, I do want to let you know that we are in the appropriate spots. We are going to make sure that we have various disclaimers that can explain pieces of information because, for example, on the sick leave, we know that sick leave is not going to be paid out. So you may have an employee that says, hey, I've got $50,000 worth of sick leave. When I leave, am I going to be paid that out? We know that's not the case. So where applicable, we're going to have disclaimers. I think Cherie also is working on a frequently asked questions list that we will display prominently in an applicable section. So, you know, this is always a work in progress, and we're going to get to a lot of those things that we recognize employees will probably have questions about.
And some of these questions that even bubble up now may inform those.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we had another question?
Yeah, that was kind of what you were just saying there. Can you also show the text for leave?
The text for leave.
So you mean the sidebar there?
The sidebar, is that what
Yeah.
we're looking for here?
Well, that's
It's a
not
little
finalized.
small.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. So that's where we'll add that language about sick leave. So that's not finalized now? That's still-
Correct.
Yeah, we're still
Yep.
working on that.
Yep, the verbiage that you're seeing is being finalized right now, and so there will probably be a few, just as there was a change from salary to compensation, as we're going through and getting the feedback from campus and our management, we're making the changes that we need to make in the system.
We got one more question.
Two more, actually.
Two more.
All right.
They're coming in
Keep
like
them coming, baby.
crazy.
Keep them
Bring 'em.
coming.
All right, they're working us here. Will the hourly amount on the leave tabs be specific for different fiscal year number of work hours?
Fiscal year. I think we're on the calendar year.
Yes, we will be on the calendar year, and so all of the figures that you're seeing are January through December.
I think sometimes our fiscal year work hours change. We just did that, right? So I think that's what this question is about. And
But
I
the
think
statement
that,
is-
yes, it would reflect your current
Yes.
hourly rate based on the current fiscal year's
Absolutely.
number of hours.
Absolutely.
If that's what, yeah. That's what they're asking.
Okay. If there is more than a year of accrued sick leave, will it show all accrued sick leave or only 1 year?
Yep, it would show all of the accrued. So you'll see all of your accrued vacation and sick throughout the year until the point at which we reach the last point in December where you're not able to carry forward a certain amount of vacation into the future year. And so we would transition that over as we do every year in TIM, and then it would show up here correctly in the.
Accumulating.
But it is
year
accumulated
after year
year
after
after
year
year.
that they'll see.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing that I want to just clarify is, for example, we'll be running the statements for like let's say 2018 right now. We're going to be running that in August, but we're going to capture all the data from January 1 to December 31st of 2019. So any corrections that took place or any finalized amounts of leave should be updated in that point, right?
Yep.
Should be updated. So all of those conversions should be updated, but more to follow. And again, if we see that we need to make adjustments to make sure that our picture is more accurate, we'll certainly do that as we move forward.
That's all for now.
That's all for now. And we're actually almost done here. Besides the menu on the left and all the detail that we've shown you, we know that some folks want something to print out and look at on their desk or take home and show the family. And so what we have in the upper right here is a printer view. And this will be available for everybody. If you click on it, it takes all of the information off of all the tabs that we've looked at, and it puts it into a printable format that they can run to a printer. And it's nothing in addition to what they've seen, really just taking all of the information and laying it out in a structure that you can print out a PDF form. We will also be making this available to the small amount of employees that don't have access to Connect Carolina directly, and we've already reached out to the departments where we believe that's necessary and are taking steps to do that. So we know there are some employees that don't have a computer or that access. We want to make sure they still receive their total rewards. But for anybody who has access to the system, we will not be supplying that printer copy because they can do it themselves right here. And that's available in the upper right of any of the pages that you see. If we go to salary, any of them have the printer view up there. That is a walkthrough of what the total reward summary is going to look like when it goes live. We fully expect this to go live the first week of August. We're working hard to get there now, validating all of our numbers. And working to get our migrations up into production ready over the next 2 weeks. And so any questions on what I've run through here or anything that Mike has covered previously?
Let's just confirm the termination when someone terminates.
Oh, for example, when someone terminates, when we run the process, we're going to be looking for and making the statements available for employees that are currently active whenever we administer for the reward summaries. So for example, let's say an employee terminates on July 30th, right? July 30th of 2019. So when we administer this process on August the 1st, if they're not an active employee as of August the 1st, even though they were an active employee for all of 2018 and the first 6 months of 2019, because they've separated when we run the process, they will not be included in that process and will not get a statement produced for self-service.
And I would just carry forward from that, anybody that begins working here after we've administered the process, so when they start in mid-August, they will not have any access to their information because they really haven't accumulated any that we could have reported on prior to them getting here. And so the next time we run this in February of 2020, they will be active and they will get the information, their actuals from the time they started in August through the end of the year. But you have to be active here at the time we run it. No exceptions.
Period.
Period. I like Christine's right. Period. That's how we say that. All right. Any additional questions, Chris?
Not so far. Maybe people are just thinking really hard.
Okay. All right. Sheree or Christine, anything to add?
Anything else? Nope.
All right, so what we will also do, we have recorded this webinar so that if you need to share this with someone else, we'll send out the link where you can re-listen, or if you can forward that link to someone that didn't get an opportunity to listen, we'll share that link with soon, probably within the next, maybe tomorrow. We'll have the link available by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Day or so.
And you will see communications coming out across campus as we get closer to the go live date. We will be putting out other communications letting people know.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we will end the webinar and you'll be able to get the rest of this hour back to do whatever you need to do.
Thank you all very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Have a great one.